Mr. Latta for up to 5 minutes.
Well, thank you very much, and I thank the gentleman for yielding. I rise today in opposition to H.R. 1644, the Government Takeover of the Internet Act. This is not about net neutrality. If this was about net neutrality, we would be operating under the long-standing bipartisan premise that net neutrality would be achieved without Title II. Like many of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, I agree that Congress needed to codify basic internet protection principles such as no blocking, no throttling, and no paid prioritization. The net neutrality bill I introduced is based directly upon the proposal from former Energy and Commerce Chairman Henry Waxman. It would prevent internet service providers from engaging in much of the discriminatory behavior that the majority is concerned about, and it would do so under Title I. Both former Republican and Democrat federal communication chairmen have also recognized that net neutrality can be resolved without vastly expanding the FCC's power under Title II. It is important to recognize the difference between Title I and Title II. The Internet is currently regulated under Title I, which means it is considered an information service. Besides the 2 years the FCC's 2015 order was in effect, the Internet has always operated under Title I since its infancy. Chairman Wheeler put the Internet under Title II rules that classify broadband as a telecommunications service. These rules were created in the 1930s for the monopoly telephone systems and obviously do not fit on an innovative engine that has thrived on minimal government involvement. Although the exact framework of net neutrality has been a bipartisan issue these past 10 years, we are at a point where Republicans and Democrats are aligned on bright line principles to preserve a free and open Internet. Rather than push through purely partisan legislation drafted by a group of unelected bureaucrats, I encourage my colleagues to vote no on H.R. 1644 so we can engage in a truly bipartisan process on net neutrality and resolve this issue once and for all. There are a menu of legislative options on the table. Each of these net neutrality bills will ensure that the FCC is a cop on the beat to keep the Internet free and open from discriminatory conduct by ISPs. But as acknowledged by H.R. 1644 sponsor, the gentleman from Pennsylvania, the bill does not preserve all aspects of a free and open Internet because it does not address blocking and prioritization done by edge providers. It also isn't clear if the bill addresses ambiguous definitions from the 2015 order for specialized services or recognize the unintended consequences of innovations like advanced network slicing capabilities in 5G. The bill also does not protect small businesses. With over 3,000 ISPs in our country, most of which are small or very small, we should make it a priority to shield these businesses from onerous regulations. I offer an amendment at the Rules Committee that would do just that and would have allowed small ISPs to focus better on expanding their networks and serving their customers. This amendment was based on a bipartisan compromises made in the 114th, 115th Congress. They unanimously passed the House and afforded small and often rural ISPs predictability. My Democratic colleagues supported the 5-year exemption, the 250,000 subscriber limit last Congress, but seem to have forgotten their statements about the need to allow small ISPs to provide broadband access rather than being bogged down with these regulations. We've seen broadband investment and innovation decline during the time the Internet was regulated under the framework that H.R. 1644 would establish. This has been verified through studies, but also in a recent Energy and Commerce Committee hearing when a witness who owns a small ISP in Oregon testified on the hampering effects the 2015 order had on his own business. And while this can quantify lost investment, we do not know the advancements in technology we have missed out on due to limited resources directed toward innovation. On the point of not knowing, we still do not know the 700+ regulations that H.R. 1644 would permanently forbear from either. Before we permanently lock in anything, I believe Congress should know exactly what we are locking in. We have pressed the majority for this list multiple times and not received it. That's why I filed an amendment that would have required the FCC to produce this list if the bill does become law. I support net neutrality, but I cannot support H.R. 1644. We should be providing the American people with real net neutrality solution rather than pushing forward an agenda that does not have the capability to become law and won't protect the internet. I thank the gentleman for, and Mr. Chairman,